All right. We are restarting again. Welcome to the Lions Den podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Lyons, and we're here to talk about Traitors and give our final thoughts on season 4. And just because I know it's been a while, I've been traveling with work, so I wanted to come back and just give my final thoughts and what I would like to see in season 5. And also, just talk about gameplay. Um, of course, before we get started, you guys know, please like and share and subscribe to the YouTube channel, as well as we will be talking about real people. We do not know them, only within the confinements of the game. So anything that I say is rooted in what I see on the screen. It is nothing personal. So, and then if I reveal any information, it is alleged. If we feeling shady, we got our shades. So let's get right and hop into it. Um, because we've technically been talking for 15 minutes already. But it's been a long day today. It's been a very long day. But anyway, we are here pretty much talking about our last season. So I think we know that the winner of Traitors has been crowned. It is Rob from Love Island, as you see. And he I will give credit where credit is due. He did play a good game. He stacked up his end game in order to work in his favor, and he made it work. I'm not of the belief that because you have you work with bad players in your season, that doesn't mean that you're not a good player. Because sometimes that can be even more of a harder game. I think it's still valid to give people credit when they know how to maneuver, make decisions, and get to the end. I'll still give him credit. Now, will I say he is better than Sari? Absolutely not. He is absolutely not better than Sari. For one, um, he played a messier game. There were moves that Rob did not necessarily have to do and still could have got to the end. Whereas Sari she held control of the game and didn't have to really get her hands dirty. She knew how to play it in such a phenomenal social way that she always stayed on top of the game, which is harder, I think, to do in Traitors. And if I compare it to, I can't really compare it to Big Brother because it's a longer game. But for a short amount of time and a short period game, a shorter game, I think that is a really good. That's a better strategy, is to have control and hold it. So she absolutely, I mean, flawless. She had a flawless game. He had bumps, but I think it didn't help that he had such a bad cast. I will say though, as far as Traitor faithfuls go, this was the worst faithfuls we've ever had. I think that I can say that even with keeping season 1 in mind, because season 1 they just didn't know the game, but they at least talked to each other. They each strategized together. This season, these people did not work together. It was very cliquish. They didn't share information and didn't explore all their options. They were just so gullible and believed everything. Did not take a step back and look at what was in front of them. Let's talk about Mara. Mara, my God, she should feel bad. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't like the coddling. Oh, you really we were all we all didn't know. We all believe. No, she should feel bad. No, she has a blind spot. She is male centered. Let's call it for what it is. No. How do you, like, literally, the evidence could have smacked you in the face and she would have said, Rob, it can't be Rob. That, like, that's the reality. I mean, it did make no sense. And that was, quite frankly, the only thing that I think could have saved the season, if had she really just sat and been like, you know what, I'm gonna start playing the game for me. Excuse me. And she didn't. And that edit was annoying to me because I'm like, we know that it's a predictable ending. Like, yes, the traitor won. which is more exciting, but it still was very predictable. And they was just really trying to take us on a journey, which we all knew the destination. And I was just like, y'all can wrap this up. Like we know it's okay. We don't have to do all of that. We get it. Um, so it was very anticlimactic because it was very predictable. But yeah, she deserves it. She should feel embarrassed. Yeah, because it was really bad. Let's talk about Eric. Eric will go down in history as one of the worst traders by far. Because he had it really easy and easily could have been the person to win the money. And he chose to just freak out. Mr. Ears, Mr. Magic Ears, is chosen to be recruited by Rob, and you would think that he would not take a moment to sit and ask himself, why did Rob pick me? Especially when Mara is right there. And I know that they're close. Everybody knew because she's been Rob the whole entire season. Sit in that, right? And then I would have told you, okay, I'm here because he wants to use me as a shield because he thinks that I would be a very bad trader, which he was absolutely correct. And I think that's what made me even upset with Rob is because his reads were right. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to give him that credit, but he was right. And he really, I mean, he was right. Eric could have very much, Eric's game should have been to vote out Rob, get Raw voted out, and you take the money for yourself. If you see that he got out his other fellow traders very aggressively, what makes you think that it could not happen to you? I just, why do you think that could not happen to you? I just don't understand it. And this is him not knowing what we see Rob as a player, right? Because I would say as a player, observing Rob's like game, he definitely does not like authority. He definitely is a bro, so he's more loyal to men than women. We saw that time and time again. Um, so yes, knowing him as a player, he what I do think he was genuine that he did want to go to the end with Eric. But if I'm Eric and I'm just looking at his pattern in his game, he need to go. What why would I keep him? Like he's not loyal. So when they came to that Natalie vote, that's what made it even more frustrating because that was the opportunity and moment, and he should have been on board with getting out Rob. It benefited him so well because he could have just Rob, then he could have blamed Natalie, and he would have been coasting. And he could have gotten Johnny. He would have been coasting. Like it was such an easy game for him, and he just completely fumbled it. So tomato to him. I also want to throw a tomato at Tara and Johnny because they wanted to give them some level of credit because they started to figure it out. And it's like, no, y'all started to game in third quarter, and that's just as bad in my opinion because you no longer have any moves. And when you had the move, you completely ruined it, backtracked, and then you were like, oh wait, now we gotta go in. And it's like, no, sillies. When you had the numbers or more of the push, that is when you should have been gaming and clocking in, not after the fact when it's no longer in your favor. So no, I don't give them any credit. And I didn't appreciate them trying to give them credit and make them feel good. Absolutely not. No. It just as bad. Um, so yeah, I mean, like I said, season finale, I personally was just like, the only thing I was looking forward to was Mara's reaction when she found out because the girl was just silly, silly, just real silly. So, but let's talk about the reunion. There was a lot of pushback when it came to Candace and Lisa with this reunion. And as you guys know, this is a Candace Stan account, so everything that I say from here on out will be Team Candace. So prepare your hearts and minds. But hear me out. Let me cook. Let me cook, right? For one, you they hire housewives for the drama. Why are we surprised that this is how they handle reunions? You guys see it on other shows. This is how they do reunions. Now, I do agree that I think that production can do a better job prepping them in general. Not to not be, excuse me, not to not have any drama, but just for them to really know that this is a game. And that's been a time critique that I've had about reunions in the first place. Is I feel like they don't tell the Bravo people that this is a game. So there is a different approach here. So don't be taking things so personal because this is a game. Like they have a totally different mindset. With that being said, I feel like Candace and Lisa, although they did want were there to collect, did very much understood that it was a game. Like they knew it was a game, but this is the point of a reunion to rehash. Now, I do think they do need to explore how to still do the reunion. Because for me, they all just fall flat. Like it I think it makes more sense if we try to find ways to reveal new information or we go over gameplay, right? And then it's like, okay, I want to know what you think was in your head. Well, why did you make this decision? Like that may be better and more engaging than just hitting the drama points because then it's kind of like, well, it doesn't matter because he won. Like if it was like, well, we could talk about this, but he won, so who cares? Like, or he won, so he did what needed to be done. So it seems like a very void point, and I just felt like, well, that's not their fault. That's the structure of the reunion, and they should maybe look at more of how do we talk about this. So it could have been, well, why did you decide to make this move? Why did you decide to choose Eric? Or, like asking more in depth strategic questions that I feel like would be, I guess, a little bit more engaging. I don't know. But it's just very hard when it's something that when we know the answer and everybody is pretty privy to the information, there's nothing really new to talk about. So it's difficult in general. But I do think that I do feel like it I want to make sure that I got everything that I wanted to say about the reunion. Right. So okay, I just wanted to make sure that I got everything about the reunion, but cuz I did feel like there were a couple questions that I did wish they would have asked and were completely just avoided, and I'm trying to find them to make sure that what I would like to say. Mm. So yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think just looking over my notes, I can't remember the exact questions, but I do know a part of the reunion that I do want to touch on, and it is when it comes to the situation between Candace, Colton, and Rob. So Candace brings up that Colton had information where he said that Rob told him basically that they were to go after them because they were traitors, and she got a lot of backlash for that because it was a miss. It was a miss hit, absolutely. But I felt like we moved past that moment a little bit too quickly because again, we're blaming her, but why do we go past the fact that Colton was the one who set that up. He was the one that said, "Hey, Rob did tell me to come after you," and left it ambiguously, knowing that this housewife is going to bring up this information because that's how they maneuver and do their job. Why are we grazing past that? All the takes that I've seen, and we've been watching Colton this whole time, and we're not clocking his T still. That man is a narcissist. That man knew exactly what he was doing when he did that and dropped that information. Because why didn't you clarify when you was talking to her on your phone? You want to know why? Because you want to make sure that you had a moment at this reunion. And you wanted to give your little PR speech to try to make people feel sorry for you and bad. But it's like at the end of the day, production should have never casted him. And that is the bottom line. And I do blame production because given the situation, given his past and current present, but given that you've excused him, but we know for a fact you wouldn't excuse other people, um, or give them the same opportunity if he wasn't a white male. You opened yourself up for this level of critique and this level of pushback. It should have never happened. He should have never been on the show. Case point, period. So no, we don't feel bad when he makes his PR speech. It was a load of crap, quite frankly. But he goes and turns around and says, "Oh, I actually think it was in this context." Well, why didn't you tell Candace that when she was messaging you? Like, come on. It's that is intentional. Like, and that was intentional. So I again don't feel like that was cool. And I felt like this is why people feel the way they do about Colton and him being a snake with Rob, but him being trifling because of a situation like that. Like, no, he should have never been on the show and he knew exactly what he was doing. Now, um, we did have a moment between Phaedra, I mean not Phaedra, Jesus, um, Portia, which I'm not gonna lie to you, I was a bit lost when it came to her and Michael Rappaport. I don't know why she was going off on him. I was like, yeah, if this isn't clear that they literally are here to just stir drama, this was a reason because it made no sense. And when I really reflected, I was like, that was an indicator that this season was not going to be good, because the fact that they gave Portia so much, like they made her out to be just, she has to be a traitor. That was my sign right there that this was not going to be a good season because y'all have to be serious. Like it was like you have to be serious right now. And the mere fact that they were like fully on board and they didn't really like listen and pay attention, that was our clue, guys. That was our clue. That was very much our clue. They did bring up the Tara situation a little bit. Natalie did put her foot down again and like did explain like, no, it was wrong, it was trifling. I felt like they did graze over a little bit too fast. The gamers barely really got to chime in or say anything. Donna was there. She could have stayed home. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Because she was again trying to give grace to Mara, and she's not deserving of it. Because she was trying to say, "Oh, well, we all thought it wasn't Rob." You mean at the beginning of the game? Because you were only here for 3 episodes, so you don't have a dog in this fight. You was barely in the game, baby. They got you out first. You cannot talk. And then to be fair, everybody thought everybody was innocent until they had to collect evidence. Like, of course, people are not going to think that, are going to think that at the beginning that certain people are innocent. She went the whole game with evidence in her face and still chose to go all the way to the end with Rob. That's different. And the fact that you like, bro, they be getting me. They be getting me for real. They be getting me. Because it's the fact that you're trying to make an excuse, and it's like, no, this is a lesson of discernment, like Candace said. So, Also, I did want to mention, I forgot because Lisa was being so shady. And I'm actually happy production and they needed to do it, keep it in for the sake of sanity, like get back and to give the audience something, they needed to keep it in. This to me was a very bold moment of the difference between Peacock production and Big Brother. Because Big Brother would have completely cut this part out, but shout out to Peacock. So Lisa, they would asked her about like you were trying to hold a traitor hostage, and she was like, "Yeah, like what was that about?" Well, we know you like to hold people hostage. Oh, that word hostage, that's an interesting word. And it was definitely threw shots at his past situation. And I said, I know that's right. I know that's right. And again, though, that's how Housewives moves. But at the same time, it's like I know for a fact, Big Brother would have absolutely not allowed that to happen. But this is Peacock; they have to lean into the drama, and and you also gave your audience a little bit of restitution because we know Colton ain't ish. We know he ain't. We know he ain't. Should have never been casted. So they had to throw that. They had to keep it, and I'm glad they made that decision because yeah, he needed a little jab. He did. Michael Rappaport was there. Again, he was on one. I'm not gonna lie, like he is entertaining. Clip. Said, you want to be a Bravo baddie so doggone bad? Chill out, Michael Rappaport. Like, clip. I was like, Michael, please, you gotta chill. You gotta chill. But he still took accountability for the Colton situation. Um, and but he was just on one once again. And yeah, so back to Candace and her gameplay. Um, I I think that I think she was right in her assessment that she made about Rob when she said that he never intended to go to the end with them. I completely agree with that, and here's why. Um, for one, if he saw that the Lisa ship was sinking and he really genuinely wanted to work with them or Candace and she was in a great spot, he could have easily said, "Hey Candace, they're coming for Lisa. It's not looking too good. We need to pivot or jump ship." And now you left it up to her to see what she's going to do. If you were being genuine. Now, let's rewind and go back to Eric. And what did he do for Eric when it came to Kristen? He told her the information. He told her he looked out for him. He looked out for him. And then they made a decision to protect his game. Rob was willing to make that choice in order to protect Eric, but did not make that choice when it came to Candace. So, no, it does beg the question that you really did not want to work with her for real. Because if you did, then you would have been a true ally. And he was not a true ally. Um, and this was before she did the rogue vote. It was before it was when Lisa was starting to get a little bit of attention the first week. He could have said, "Hey, like we may want to pivot here because it's not looking too good. People are starting to suspect her." He literally could have said that if he wanted to work with her and be genuine. And I think that Candace would have made the decision best for her game. So I agree. He did not. He really did not want to do that. Um but however, I do think that, the errors of Candace's game was getting rid of Monet and then being too trusting with the traders. Which I'll go a little bit more into detail on on my takeaways. But yeah, I fully agree with her. I think that was a correct read. I don't know why she got a lot of pushback for that because it is very true. So no. I 100% agree. Now, so yeah, making sure that we have got everything. So yeah, those were mostly my notes on the reunion. I think that it was okay overall. Oh, I'm sorry. The last point that I want to make with Rob C that I do think was very valid, when they asked him about, what's going on with the gamers being voted out, and he pretty much said, well, Jam Jam, I think you being that person to really come and target gamers really just opened it up to allow everyone else to want to come and target us. And um because once you started shooting fire at us, everybody then shot fire at us, and then it ends up hurting your game in the long term too, because you had no type of alliance or protection. And I think that was a very valid and true point. I will 100% agree with Rob on that. Oftentimes with traders, because it has become so cliquish, you want to go with the people in your franchise for at the beginning of the game. You want to build those numbers up and build it to where you're voting out people that you at least want to see in end game, or um are traders, right? Like, because you're also got to play a trader's game. And for him to go and just target all the gamers made no sense. And it kind of killed the season, quite frankly, but he was telling the truth. I 100% agree with that. He absolutely should have not done that. You should have worked with them. You would have had numbers. They would have had no reason to get you out with all the people that were in the house at that moment, especially when they found out that Donna was a traitor. Yeah, like there was no reason for him to have burnt that bridge like that so quickly. So, which leads me to, I think, a good segue into my takeaways. I think my first takeaway would be, yeah, like this game would be totally different if we had gamers. And um I think future trader gamers and players should not, like, maybe not get rid of the gamers, because one thing about it is, yes, they are smart, yes, they are cunning, but at the same time, they can be a very helpful tool when it comes to your trader game, to your faithful game. They can help you steer in the direction of staying focused, of looking at evidence, of putting information together, and helping you push your game forward because they get strategy. When you eliminate them, all of the strategy of this season was gone. And I fully believe it would have been better. Like, been a totally different game if they were in the house. They are necessary, right? Because this is a game. So I do feel like, yeah, future traders should not get rid of all the gamers. Find you a person that you can bond with and trust. And then it's like, if you feel like they're a trader, there is a strategy where you can work with them. Let them get you to the end and then vote them out if you really feel that way. But let them do the work. Let them help them steer the boat. That, like, that is a secret weapon, and y'all got rid of them. I just, that made no sense to me. I also, another takeaway of mine is, as traders, as faithfuls, Jesus Christ, as faithfuls, y'all have to work together. Y'all have to share information. When you don't share information, you don't know how to navigate the game and know, like, who's doing suspicious behavior, information that you should know. There's no reason why Lisa should have not told him what Colton had said. That should have been happening. She should have been sharing information. There was other information they should have been sharing. Even Eric and how he handled hearing, thinking he heard somebody laugh. That's information that he should have not waited to the round table to share, but share with your allies. But every time they tried to build an alliance, literally, they never stuck to it. And I think that is a horrible strategy as faithfuls. You all need each other. And that in order to get information and find traitors, you cannot play in silos. You cannot do that. Now let's talk about the traitors. I do think traders should be loyal to each other, but I think they need to use their position as a trader to build the game that they want to have the closer they get to the end game. So you're in a good position because you get to see the full game as a trader. Use it to build your army. Rob realized it and built his army before Candace did. And that was something that her and Lisa should have done from the beginning and really rally the troops, get her people together. Because if and when either they get somebody or you see that someone is potentially going to be voted out, you can simply pivot and you have the numbers to do it. Or if you need to get someone out, you have the numbers to do so. Use that position of power to your advantage to advance your game. That's what traders need to know. And then, um, lastly, I've kind of forgotten my last point. Oh, yeah. Lastly, I think it's time for them to explore other casting or people from other franchises than Bravo and just the gamers. It needs to be separated and expanded. It has become way too cliquish that people are not allowed to game. The way that the gamers were attacked one by one was so unfair and such a letdown. We did not get to see them play. And that, like, it was a letdown. Like, it ruined this season, quite frankly. No, it's become way too cliquish. Go to the people at VH1. Go to the people at E News. Like, you got House of Villain people. You got NTV people. Why hasn't Jersey Shore been tapped? Um, so many other people and other talents that you could bring on from the not just from Bravo to help break it up. Like, it's way too cliquish. I don't like the rule that housewives don't vote for each other. This is a game. I don't like it. I don't like it. Break it up. You have so many games. You have to, I mean, you can do more of the challenge. Shoot, you can do even some from CBS, from the Wheel of Fortune, the Jeopardy, something like break it up. Or we gonna continue to get results like we did, where everybody is voting based on their clicks, and people are not getting a chance to fairly play. Like there's too many OG early 2000s people and talent that you guys can call to get them on this show. They need to expand. They need to expand. So, and I meant to take this down. But yeah, those are just my biggest takeaways from this season. I mean, I'm hoping that in season 5 we see some improvement with because Traitors has had a great run. The last 3 seasons were great, but now I don't know if they gonna get that Emmy this year. I really don't. I think Survivor has a very strong chance and possibility with doing Survivor 50, which I'm currently missing. I They have a strong potential of beating them this year. So hopefully they regroup, they recognize what went wrong, they pay more attention, change up the dynamics. I don't necessarily need like the secret traitor to come back. I think that was a load of crap, quite frankly. I don't need that. But I would have liked to seen some more saves, because I think the previous season there were people who got second chances. Um I would like the prize money to be more hard. Like them challenges need to be harder. And I do think there needs to be consequences at some point. Like at some point there need to be consequences. You keep voting out faithfuls, bring in a consequence or something, or deduct some money, something that helps them, kicks them in the drive to actually try to game and strategize. We need some level of shakeup in that structure to make it more interesting, because it really be like, what's the point of these games if y'all just winning all so easily? They racked up this season. So those are my thoughts on the overall season 4 of Traitors. Thank you all for watching, for those who have been watching and hearing my thoughts and my takes, I guess. Um, we'll be back to talk about that when it comes on next season. I am excited for the civilian one. I would like to come back and do the civilian one. I think that one would probably be very, very interesting to do, and see how everyday people play, and we probably will see some more new strategies, and people will get the chance to actually play. So I'm excited. We can definitely come back and talk about that. And yeah, catch me back next week. We'll be talking about Paradise. We may come back. We'll probably do Wednesday like we've been normally doing. But girl, if the episode is good, we may have to come back on Tuesday. We'll see. But I'll definitely check me out on all social media platforms at the Lions Den Podcast or at Lauren.Ashley, where I'll be doing mini recaps and keeping you guys updated on all things television. Until next time, see you guys later. Bye.